we're going to do a quick review of the activity from yesterday, a quick review of the funnels. And the first one is from Anand, who runs a little organization that's just getting started from what I can tell. And it's called Just Play, and it's based in India. And so here is his funnel for his Instagram channel and a particular post on his Instagram channel. So here's the funnel. So there's a couple of zeros here. So I think we've got a referral and a revenue problem. And having a look at Anand's cause and looking at where he's going, and he's just getting started, it seems like perhaps there's not many opportunities for people to do referral or to provide revenue in the forms of donations or signing schools up or things like that. So yeah, that's that funnel. And then the other one was from Anna T2M, or Anna, who runs an amazing organization called Unseen City. And they create graphic novels that talk about different social issues and spread awareness by telling stories. And she has a really interesting funnel because, well, we've got some nice numbers all the way through, and we've got this huge spike right here with revenue. We've got 135 graphic novels. So people buy these novels to essentially get something in return for contributing to or supporting the cause. So based on that, where do you think the funnel might be a bit clogged? Where do you think we could sort of focus our efforts? What numbers do you think we could move? This is a really tricky one. It's a really interesting one. Pretty solid amount of views, great interaction, lots of people following, lots of shares, and a huge number of graphic novels sold. So based on that, even though this number here, 511 views, is, you know, pretty big compared to that, it seems to me like if we could make this bit here bigger, if we can make the acquisition bit at the top wider, then maybe more people will come through and go to the bottom and buy those novels. Because clearly, once they discover Unseen City, they are super keen, and they go all the way down. They fall all the way back through to the bottom and they buy. So in this case, I would be thinking about moving the needle on acquisition. I'd be thinking about ways to reach out and get more people and spread awareness of this amazing thing, because it looks like once you do that, bam, you're sorted. They all already moved the way through. And this is interesting because Anna had a different insight. And this is that she got them they bought the book, and she actually wants to kind of do another type of revenue. She wants to get people to volunteer, which is also valid. So that might be the other way to do it. Maybe this is enough here, and maybe it's just about kind of going, hey, once you've bought the novel, do this other step, volunteer for me. But I'd still try and move this up. I'd try and reach more people. All right. The winner, can you guess, is Anna and Anand. And just very quickly, I'm going to kind of go through 2 questions that we got. So the first one is just, how do you get revenue? And the answer is, well, there's an infinite number of ways to get revenue. You can give crowdfunding, recurring donations. You can do perks like selling a graphic novel. You can sell products. You can get government funding. You can get international aid funding. You can run campaigns. You can do all of these things. All you have to do is make it easy for the person to do it and ask them to do it. So probably you need to pick a revenue model or a volunteer model, and then you need to do it. You need to make it easy for them to do it. And this question, I won't read it out, but it was just about if someone has all these different motivations or reasons for giving, can we cater to all of them? And the answer is you could, but you run the risk of failing at all of them. It's better to pick one that you think is most likely to be the motivator, the reason for someone to give, and try and create your content and try and engage with your person based on that. And if that works, chances are you'll accidentally tie into all these other motivators. Whereas if you try and do all of them, you'll probably, unfortunately, not tie into all of them. So pick one that you think is the most likely, create your ask, give them a way to give. And go from there. All right. So on to the last final section of our little boot camp. And this one's going to be a little different to the first 2. In the first 2, we were talking about concepts and how to apply those concepts to our cause. This one's kind of more of a recipe and a little bit of an explanation about why we need to follow that recipe. So we're going to talk about the lean approach. We're going to talk about a concept called the sprint or the marketing sprint, which you may have heard of. And I'm going to kind of run through a really quick 2-week plan for running your first marketing sprint. But before we do that, what does lean mean? Does anybody know what that word means? Or what does that word mean to you? I know I am not very lean, which is why I sometimes do a bit of intermittent fasting. But are there other types of lean? This, if I think of like an animal, like a cheetah that's lean, it's muscly, it's fast, there's not much on it that isn't useful. And so that's kind of my meaning of lean. Compact, I like that. Efficient, fast, yes. So svelte, oh, I like that word, svelte. What does lean marketing mean? How do we add the term lean onto marketing? Yeah, fit and streamlined, efficient. Same kind of thing. So if we're doing lean marketing, we're trying to prune out all the crap we don't need. And we're just trying to do the simplest thing to have the most impact. And if we find something doesn't work or doesn't give us impact, well, it's fat and we need to trim it. And so we talk about the lean approach to marketing, which is basically doing these cycles of planning, creating your post, measuring the impact, figuring out what all of that impact and all of that means, and then fitting that in and planning it again. And we want to do it really quickly. As Mark Zuckerberg once said, he's actually changed his motto since then, but he said, move fast and break things. If you're not breaking things, you're not moving fast enough. And this needs to be applied to the way we think about our marketing. Instead of spending ridiculous amounts of money getting a marketing firm to create all this perfect content and giving us advice and things like that, we're better off just starting right now with something and getting better over time. And what you'll find is if you do it that way, you'll actually have more impact and you'll create something better than you would if you did pay a firm. And even if you do book a firm, if you give them all that data information, they'll be able to give you more help. So we need to move fast and break things. And so we're going to do that in what's called a marketing sprint. We're going to do a whole marketing cycle and we're going to try and do it in 2 weeks. And our goal will be to smash out some content and get it up on social media or emails or heck, even a billboard or a paste up on a wall. Doesn't matter where you put that content, as long as it's going to be somewhere where people that you're trying to connect with, your first followers, can find it. So our goal will be to produce 3 or 4 posts minimum, but maybe 5 or 6 posts ideally. And we're going to go from nothing to shipping to posting and evaluating in that 2-week period. So this is our first sprint. This is kind of a little bit of a day-to-day calendar, process or recipe that we're going to follow, what we're going to do each day to get to the point where we've fully run our first campaign and we're already looking at the results by the end of it. So what I've done is I've tried to chop this up into really small segments that should only take about 20 minutes to do each day. Might take a little bit longer the first time, or you might be quicker if you've already done some of this stuff in the past. So we're going to get organized. We're going to think about our numbers. What are the things we want to move the needle on? What do we want to move how do we want to move our person down the funnel? We're going to think about whether or not what we think is going to happen or how we're going to do it makes sense. And then we're going to get creative, brainstorm, make the posts and schedule them up and get them out in the world. And then on day 7, we're going to evaluate the impact. And then on day 8, we're going to evaluate the impact. And well, you might see a pattern here. So we're actually going to do most of the work in those first few days. And then we're going to put it up. We're going to keep an eye on how it performs. And so one thing I'll note there is we're not going to post everything on day 6, but we will probably schedule some posts that will appear sort of here, day 9 and day 11, perhaps 1 or 2 posts a day, perhaps 1 post a day, depending on how many you make. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to run you through kind of a little bit more detail about what we should do on each day. And so the first day is pretty straightforward. We're just going to get a little bit more organized. We're going to get our persona that we did in workshop 1. We're going to get our funnel. And ideally, I want you to print them out. I want you to stick them up on a wall or put them on a desk if you've got a big enough desk or your kitchen table or something like that. And I want you to get some pens and paper, some things to draw. And I just need you to get room. I need you to get somewhere that's away from other people, where you can kind of have a bit of time to think, but also hopefully where somewhere where you can pull in a few people when it comes to actually pulling other people in and involving them. Really easy, right? Shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes. There's basically no thinking, but have a read of the persona, have a read of the funnel, try and remember why you did it, and maybe just do a little bit of refinement, because remember, chaos to clarity. So between the time you wrote this persona and the time you built this funnel, you probably already have a few more insights. You probably have a bit more a detail to add, if that kind of makes sense. So day 2, we're going to think about the metrics. We're going to ask these 2 questions and hopefully answer them as best we can. What step in the funnel does your first follower need to take? Do you need to acquire a new one or a new group of first followers? Or do you need them to start talking about your cause so they can bring in their networks and get them to follow you? The second thing is, how the hell are you going to measure that? You've kind of got an example funnel for one of your posts. So you kind of have an idea for this, but if it's an acquisition thing, maybe it's just more views than you've had before on your previous posts. And if you're starting from 0, well, any kind of views is good. If it's referral, then it's shares, or it's people emailing or messaging other people, or it's reviews on a platform. There can be a million different ways to measure it. Pick one that makes sense for the way you're going to reach out to your users. A bit more on that in a second. The next thing we're going to do in day 3, and this is where it gets a little tricky, is we're going to think about the logic. We're going to build a bit of a hypothesis of what we think we want people to do, and what we need to show them, what we need to tell them, and what we need to give them to get them to do that thing. I hope that kind of makes sense. And I'm just keeping an eye out for questions because I haven't had a look for a bit. No? Okay, good. Please do spam me with questions in the chat and on the Q&A section. I really do like to know either if A, I'm on the right track, or B, how to get you back on the right track or clarify anything. So with we are too engaged. Oh, thanks. So the way to do this logic, or one way to do this logic, is to kind of basically write a sentence that explains to you what you're going to do. And then you're going to kind of sense check it, make sure it makes sense with the person you're talking to, your first follower who you're going to try and connect with, perhaps with your team or your colleagues or your friends or other volunteers. So basically we're going to sort of say, if I tell them this and I show them that and I give them this, then they will, whatever they will do, they will follow me. They will like me. They'll look at my post. They'll share my post. They'll donate. They'll buy the thing. And I don't know if you've ever done what's called a logic framework before, but a lot of the time you start here. So what is the thing you want them to do? Donate, follow, like. Okay, now go back. What do you need to tell them? What do you need to show them? What do you need to give them? Is it an action? Please donate here. Please sign up to my email list. Or is it just literally give them a post that shows up on their feed? That could be all you need to give them. Have a think about it. Write it down a few times, dial it in. But if you've got this, then you're probably going to be kind of on the right track when you're thinking about how to actually create your posts. Here's an example for revenue, which kind of shows you one way to do it. So if I tell them we're building a new school and I show them photos of our students studying and I give them a way to donate, then they will donate. It's not rocket science, but sometimes it can be really tricky to kind of get that right. But if you have that, it's going to help you make your posts. What I see a lot of the time is people just kind of make a post and it's like, it's a nice photo of the cause or it's a nice story about the difference they're making, but it's not really clear why they did it or what I meant to do. And so this way, hopefully we're starting to think about why the hell are we actually bothering with marketing? What are we actually going to do? Here's a referral / acquisition example. And this is from a cause that I love that I've mentioned a few times, Edgar's Mission. But if I tell them about a cute new animal we rescued and I show them of a video of it playing in its new home and I give them a way to share the video with their friends, then they'll share it. Simple. This is great. People are going to talk about the cause and share the cause with their networks because they're going to be able to look at this cool post. Is this one post or several posts? That's a good question. It's kind of up to you. My view is typically you want to do this a few times. You want to nudge people a few times and get them to do the same thing. But you might want to shake it up a little bit each time. So you might have a different cute new animal each time. Obviously, you don't want to do the same cute animal in the same video each time. We talk about the rule of sevens in marketing. I think it's called the rule of sevens. And basically, it's just you have to nudge people sort of 7 times for them to do anything, whether it's buying a vacuum cleaner or donating to your cause or whatever. We learned in sales, keep asking 7 times. Yep, that's great. Yeah, carousels are a great option. To be honest, Dev and everyone else asking questions, experiment and find the best format and the best platform for posting. Find one that works for you. I can't tell you which one to pick, but I can tell you to look at your persona and look at your person and look at the channels they're on and the people they're listening to. And I can suggest that you probably start wherever that is. Yeah, nice one. Okay. And then once you've got this little statement, this logic statement, or this hypothesis, take a look at the persona and go, is this going to work? Is this really going to work? If I'm, if my persona is called Amy and I think about who Amy is and I think about her reading this, is she really going to kind of be convinced? And if she is, great. And if she isn't, well, why not? And what can you change? And even if she is, how do you make it even more convincing? How do you really connect up with, is she greed motivated? Does she want to buy something that's in return for her donation? Or is she glory motivated? Does she really want to see other people appreciating her and the amazing work she's doing to help make a difference? And does the thing I'm giving them, the opportunity, for example, sharing a video with their friends or sharing that they donated or helping them run a crowdfunding campaign, how does the thing I'm giving them to do, how does the thing I'm giving them tie into that motivation? All right, so the next thing is we need to brainstorm. So we've kind of got this little hypothesis, this little logic framework, this little idea of how things work. And what we need to do now is we need to start thinking about different ways to turn that into content. And the easiest way that I found to do this is an exercise called the Crazy 8. And I use this all the time for so many different things because it's a great way to kind of get from nice ideas and concepts and things like that into some ways to get started and actually executing and actually creating. So the Crazy 8 exercise, well, here's an example shot for some website mockups. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to have a sheet of paper with 8 sections. You can draw the sections or you can literally just fold it in half, fold it in half, fold it in half, and you'll get those sections. And then what you're going to do is you're going to decide on a question and you're going to set a timer for 8 minutes and you're going to draw, not just write, one way to answer that question or one idea for solving that problem per little section of paper. And you're going to do one each minute and you are not allowed to stop. You have to do one thing each minute. And when that minute's up, you move on to the next thing. If you've written down your idea and your minute's not up, keep fleshing it out and adding detail until that minute's up. Does that kind of make sense? It's really hard to do the first few times and you'll feel stuck on 3 or 4. And then over time, I don't know, something happens and you can do 20. But don't do that. Refine the ones you've got. Once you've done that, you want to kind of pick your favorite ideas and go, okay, this one makes the most sense. This one's actually a terrible idea. This one's crazy, but maybe I should try it. And so in the case of this exercise and for this particular problem that we're solving, we want to think about what will we say, show, and give, and what might that look like in a post or in a piece of content or in an email or in a billboard ad or whatever you choose to do. So just answer those questions. Draw it up, draw a little post, pictures of the kids in the school doing the thing and, hey, we're helping all these kids, you can donate now. Here's the link. I'm giving them a link to the donation page. And for this one in particular, teamwork makes the dream work or dream work. So if you can get 2 or 3 people to make these or 4, in fact, 10 is great. But if you can get 2 or 3 people to do it, and you can get them all to do the exercise, and you can talk about the persona and what you're trying to get them to do, then that's going to make this better. Because ideally, after that 8 minutes, you can all come together. And what you'll find is, even though you've worked separately, you'll all have similar ideas in some areas and completely different ideas in other areas. Once you've done that, and once you've looked at all the ideas, you can do a thing called dot voting. So you can vote on which ones do you think are the best, which ones are going to have that impact, which ones are going to move the needle on the thing you want to move the needle on. Okay, and then will this work? Is this going to make sense for my person? Or do we kind of get off track? Bring it back to the person, make sure it kind of connects. Finally, we're going to create. So we've picked our favorite ideas. We've picked these little like things that we're going to say and show and give them to do. Now we need to actually turn them into content. We need to turn them into posts. Oh yes, Rosalind, very good point. Be super careful about pictures of kids. Yeah. And in Australia and everywhere else, that's definitely a thing. So yeah, watch that one. Get a release. Anyway, back to the workshop. So pick your favorite ideas, turn them into content. If you've never made a piece of content before, if you've never used Canva before, then, well, unfortunately, that's about 3 more boot camps worth of work right now. And I can't really rip into it. And I'm not the best at it. I have amazing people who help me do this bit. So I'm very lucky there. Have a look at the Canva Design School, designschool.canva.com. It is full of courses and content and things like that. There's a couple of links in the little workbook that I'll share with you at the end of the session for some particular courses like mastering marketing and social media. How convenient. And branding and creating content, things like that. And then day 6, we're nearly done. We want to post it. We want to share it. And because we're kind of thinking of like maybe 3, 4, or 5 posts, because we've made a bunch. Oh, thanks for the link, Jess. I forgot to give you that, but you already got it. Amazing. We don't want to post everything all at once. That's going to clutter our feed. It's going to be messy. The algorithm on Facebook or Instagram in particular will like penalize you hard for that. And it'll only show one post to anybody, or it might not show any posts to anyone because it'll be like, this is weird. I don't know if this is a good idea to share with other people, so I won't. So we've got all these posts, and we can either come back to our social media platforms or wherever and post every day, or we could just schedule them. And we're very lucky because there's this thing called the content calendar in the Canva app, which lets you do this. So if you do choose to create your designs and your posts in Canva, once you've done that, you can literally just pick where to post it, what platform, what day, what time, what copy, what you're going to type, and what will appear under the post. You can do it all, on that one day. So pick some times, space it out. So if you're doing 4 posts, then, or say you're doing 7 posts and you somehow manage to make that many posts, well, do 1 each day. If you're doing 4 or 3, sort of 1 every day or 2. So don't do them all at once. And then finally, we're going to evaluate. This is what we're going to spend, I guess, the last bit of our, or the second bit of our week on. So there's many ways to evaluate, but there's only one tool you really need. Although there are many really good tools out there, but I'm going to give you one that's free, and it's a spreadsheet. And there's an example of this in the workbook with some sort of made up metrics and things like that. But basically what we want to do in our sheet, whether you do a big ugly one like this or make a slightly prettier one, if you do make a prettier one, please share it with me. We want to have a link to the actual post or a screenshot of the post, because we need to actually, look at what we're doing, what we're showing, what we're telling, what we're giving them to do. We want to think about the goal and the logic. So have the goal. I want to get, or the metric or the thing we want to move the needle on. So I've got an acquisition goal. Last time I had 100,000 followers view my post, and I want to increase that. I want to get to 120. So that's your goal. And you're going to have the logic, the little, sentence. If I do this and I do this and I give them this, then they'll do this. And then we want to measure the result. We want to sort of sample probably 3 or 4 days minimum after you shared the post. But you can keep an eye on it right after you post it as well. But you want to sort of 3 or 4 days. On most platforms, the numbers have moved as much as they'll move. Not many people will see it anymore after that. In fact, after 24 hours, not many people will see it. So after 3 or 4 days, you want to kind of record the result and be like, okay, so how did I go? And then once you've done all that, spend a minute going, okay, so did I go up or did I go down? Why did I go up? Did I have an unexpected result? Did way more people donate to my cause, even though I was just trying to get them to look at my post? So reflect on that, write a little note in your little sheet or on Hootsuite or whatever tool you use. And over time, when you're ready to do your next sprint, which I would do right away after your first 2-week period ends, take those and use those insights to sort of set up your next sprint, because hopefully you'll have something better. You'll have something a bit more accurate and refined. That's it. We did it. So hopefully that kind of recipe or like schedule will help you get started. But remember, we are moving from chaos to clarity. So it's probably going to suck the first time you do this, and it's going to be really hard. But you do it a few times and you'll be amazing. And eventually you'll probably be way better than me. So I encourage you to just have a go. There's a link to the final workbook. I'd love to hear any questions you have. Please fire away in either the Q&A panel or chat. I don't really mind. Although Jess, if you want to, I don't know. And finally, there is a request for feedback. I'd love to know how I went, what I could do to make this clearer, what I could do to make this easier. Yeah, just generally how we can make this better. So yeah, that's it. I think we'll share. Yeah, Jess is just dropping the workbook link in now. I believe we'll also email it all out and that sort of thing. So yeah, Jess, you're on mute. Oh, cool.
Yep, everything will get emailed out. Sorry, I was just putting some links organized. But yes, everything will get emailed out. So you will get not only the workbook link, but also a link to the recording as well, in case you want to recap any of this content in your own time.
No worries.
So yeah, here's the link to the feedback form coming in again. So
Sweet.
please do. It's a 1-minute form, and we love hearing from you. And you can just copy and paste that into your browser. And you can have your say, because there's a little spot at the bottom saying, what would you like to learn more about? So feel free to let us know what other workshops you would like to hear.
It's a simple form, but it's actually this like amazing way to give back, because if we know a little bit more about what you all need, we can put stuff together to support you and to support other causes like you. So yeah, a couple of minutes work, worth it. Will the workbook link be emailed out this time? Voice and visual guidelines. So Rosalind, Rosalind, for those who can't see the chat perhaps, would like to learn more about voice and visual guidelines. So there's a branding section in the design school site. And I believe there's a little course and some recordings there. And we also run how to brand like live workshops similar to this quite regularly. So yeah, feel free to have a look in there. It'll probably get you started. Yep. In terms of like branding and visual guidelines and things like that, it's very valuable to do, but don't get too caught up in it right away. It's better to get started.
Yep,
but yeah,
absolutely.
do it eventually. If you have, I don't know, 200,000 followers, it's time to really dial in your branding and tone of voice. If you've got 100 or 500 or even 1,000, it's probably okay just for now. Our course has prescribed fonts, colors, etc. More experienced people say they can import the rules and Canva. That's correct. So there is a way in Canva to restrict the types of things that people can use. And you need a enterprise account for that. But I believe you can also set up branding and like branding formats and things like that in Canva, even if you don't have that. Rosalind is the brand police. Well, it's good to have, especially, I mean, Rosalind, if I remember correctly, you work for Rotary. So Yeah, Rotary is a very big organization. So yeah, it's good to have that. The other thing you can do if you aren't as big as Rotary is just set up some simple post templates and some simple rules for people to follow. So that, for example, if your volunteers want to post or share something, they can just grab that template, and as long as they kind of put it in there, and as long as they don't, break any rules, like no photos of children, for example, then you'll get away with it a lot of the time, and you'll be able to leverage those people who do want to talk about you as well. All right, I think we're just about out of time. Are we
Thanks
done?
so much.
Do we need a little bit more time to leave the links up, or we're good?
No, everything will get emailed out when you get the video as well. So yeah, don't worry if you miss those in the flow of the chat, they'll be coming to you anyway. So a huge thank you to you, Ben, for sharing all of your wisdom and experience with us in Canva Space. We really, really appreciate it. And thank you to everybody who was able to share the session live with us today. It was really lovely to have you here with us, and we look forward to seeing you at a future Canva Space session.
And remember, chaos to clarity, just get started and then keep refining.
Brilliant.
Bye.
See you next time.